You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
Hello there, and welcome to the Diversity Dude podcast, recognized as one of the top 100 diversity and inclusion podcasts in the U.S. I'm your host, Lambert Fisher, marriage and family therapist, award-winning author, and national speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. And whether it be through my one-on-one relationship building efforts as a therapist or my informing and empowering efforts as an author and speaker, know that my personal mission is to do my part to improve the world one strengthened relationship at a time. So, today I'd like to share with you a few thoughts about the cultural impact of proximity bias. Now, if you weren't already aware, proximity bias describes how people in positions of power tend to treat workers who are physically closer to them more favorably, which stems from an outdated assumption that those who work remotely are less productive than those who work from the office. For many of you listening, this became very relevant with COVID practices and policies. First, mandating that we all work from home for safety reasons, then transitioning to allowing work from home in certain roles more so than others, and then transitioning to mandating a return to working in person, similar to pre pandemic West. The argument most often given is that when employees work from home, they are less productive, thus requiring a work return to in-person work as necessary for everyone's effectiveness. However, there are several problems with this logic, especially for employees of historically marginalized racial groups who tend to prefer working from home for myriad reasons, not just the ones that many unfortunately conclude. For many on this and for more, I'd like to share how you can help reduce this negative consequence by sharing a few things about the cultural impact of proximity bias. Let's start with consideration number one. Remote workers are more productive than you think. First, let's acknowledge right out the gate the insulting and pessimistic assumption that remote workers are less productive because they're lazy or using remote work to not work at all or as much and being distracted at best or at worst, blatantly choosing instead to use work time to do everything but work with no accountability. If this is the assumption, then proximity bias will make a lot of sense, as you would naturally prefer and appreciate the workers who are actually committed to their job and the organization as a whole, over those who would rather take for granted the job, ultimately resulting in more work for everyone else who has to pick up their slack. Unfortunately, when many picture a lazy employee who'd rather work from home than in the office, they often think of employees from marginalized groups. This then becomes an excuse for many to justify their proximity bias, fueled by negative and unfounded stereotypes. Interestingly, research suggests that remote workers are not only very productive, but in certain roles, they're sometimes even more productive than they would be in the office. How can this be? Well, for various reasons, but many employees who value the opportunity to work from home are committed to doing so because of their productivity. Working from home offers less distractions than they would have in the person in the office. For at home, there isn't the opportunity for distractions like water cooler talk and break room chatter, which is fine, but can be a distraction from productivity. Similarly, at home, there are no interruptions at your cubicle or office door from people who just stop by in passing, since you were both there. No, they need to do this via email instead if you work remotely, often being more succinct in their request, resulting in more efficient use of time. All that to say, while it may seem like remote work is synonymous with laziness or mere lack of productive effort, regardless of what cultural group comes to mind when you think of such, it may be worth exploring each role and each employee on a case by case basis before deciding whether to place your priorities or biases in a certain direction. Which brings us to consideration number two. Marginalized groups often lose more when mandated to return to in person office work. When considering whether to prioritize an in person mandate over remote work, it's also worth considering the impact it'll have on the employee, not just the organization. For example, one of the most commonly recognized benefits of working remotely is the elimination of short or sometimes very long commute, saving valuable minutes or sometimes hours in one's day, which can be reallocated to more sleep before they go to work, more family time after work, or even increased self care and balance efforts that complement work efforts. As a therapist, this is particularly significant because a healthier work life balance benefits both home life as well as work life. Everyone wins. Culturally speaking, marginalized groups often lose more when mandated to return to in person work for many reasons. For example, their commute is often longer on average than their professional counterparts, as their homes and neighborhoods are often further away than the professional businesses where they're employed. Not only that, but they are statistically more likely to rely upon public transportation, often adding even more time to the commute. Reduced commutes also reduce and sometimes eliminate the amount of money required for childcare, either that be daycare or full time or before school and after school programming to accommodate for the commute. Requiring a return to in person work often adds financial inconvenience that is more of a sacrifice for some than it is for others. For reasons like this, it would be a mistake to be biased toward and prefer in person workers, believing that they are more committed and more hardworking when they may be less inconvenienced by the in person office mandate because they have the financial privilege to compensate for it outside of work. And even that doesn't even take into consideration number three, which is that for marginalized groups, remote work can reduce cultural stresses. Research has shown that another reason employees from marginalized groups perform remote work compared to in person office work is that just like remote work reduces occurrences from casual distractions from their coworkers, remote work also reduces occurrences of casual microaggressions as well. While at home and give the opportunity to focus on the job itself, there's less opportunity to hear casual comments, conveying conclusions about them being based on their cultural background that are either negative or insulting, disrespectful, or just simply inaccurate. They have to worry less about how they'll refrain from showing on the outside the frustration or the anger they may feel on the inside. Because experience has told them that while everyone is encouraged to share their feelings and concerns, everyone doesn't have the same likelihood of being heard, understood, and validated in those feelings. In fact, their experience tells them that they have a higher likelihood of being told that they are overreacting to what was said, gaslit into being believed that nothing was ever insultingly said at all in the first place, or worse, having their professionalism challenged because their frustration is being used against them, conveying that they must not be a team player or truly committed to the job. But even then, remote work isn't the solution as a whole that it may seem, because on one hand, being able to work from home increases the chance that a review of their work will truly reflect the objective results of their efficient and effective work over the course of the year. However, on the other hand, in addition to negative assumptions and biases that plague remote workers unfairly, proximity bias offers an added benefit to those in the office that they won't benefit from. For when annual bonuses or even just mere percentage raises get handed out at the end of the year, in person workers who not only have their results to lean on, but also that positive casual water cooler talk and those chats and the casual laughs will also come to mind first, leaving remote workers who are further away in proximity to be left biased against without merit. With all that being said, my hope for you is that you will be able to see proximity bias when it's around you, in yourself, or in others. Do your best to see the merit of people's requests to work remotely or simply anywhere outside of your presence. Don't assume that if someone is not being micromanaged, they're not being productive. Let the results speak for themselves. And also, listen to the additional reasons why people have the preferences that they have. In the world of limited opportunities for benefits or accommodations for financial reasons, with appropriate accountability, remote work has the potential to be a no cost benefit that could significantly benefit you as well as every employee who needs it. And if we're intentional, we can resist the proximity bias temptation to view those who are far away from us as less favorable than those who are near. A little something that may help is to make intentional efforts to surround yourself with people from diverse backgrounds who can help you remember to value everyone, whether they're culturally near from you or far. And with that, I'll say thanks again for listening to today's Diversity Dude podcast. If you found it positive and insightful, then be sure to like and subscribe so I know which topics you'd like me to share more on in the future. And share with a friend so they can be encouraged as well. To find out how you can culturally safe create a work environment for you and your team, visit lambertsfisher.com/playbook for a free guide. You can also learn more in my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, which offers unique ways to positively address the often diverse topic of diversity, equipping helping professionals like you in your efforts to meet the greatest variety of cultural needs possible for those whom you serve. If you haven't heard it yet, I invite you to visit TED.com and check out my talk called What to Do When You Offend Someone, where I offer a positive and practical perspective on how to navigate unintentional offenses in daily life. To date, it's been viewed over 500,000 times. Check it out for yourself, and if you feel encouraged by it, share it with a friend so they can be encouraged as well. And as usual, I look forward to addressing as many topics as possible in future podcasts to help you improve as many relationships as possible at work, at home, and in your community. And as always, remember this. You don't need to know everything about everyone in order to have a positive impact on someone. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
Welcome to Old National Bank.
I understand you're all about protection.
Well, we protect you in all kinds of ways, with advanced fraud monitoring and secure digital banking to protect you today, and with dedicated personal bankers to protect your tomorrow.
I'm impressed.
Protection for today and tomorrow.
Could I just...
Oh, go for it.
Old National Bank. Just another reason to get old.
Where'd you get this?
It came with my couch.
It's Shaletta Brundage, Minnesota's autism mom. I need you to help me help stop Medicaid fraud. If your child needs autism services, choose a provider carefully. Legitimate providers won't pressure you to sign up, offer you gift cards, or contact you unexpectedly for personal information. Instead, a good provider will develop an individualized plan for your child and communicate with you regularly. If your child receives autism services, make sure the services are actually provided. Watch your mail for those explanation of benefits letters, right? They show you the services billed under your child's name. Look that thing over. Did your child get all of the services on the dates listed? Now listen, if you have concerns, trust your instincts and report suspected fraud to the Minnesota Department of Human Services at mn.gov/DHS/report-fraud. Or you can always give them a call at 1-800-657-3750.
When she walked in on her first day at Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas, she didn't know a soul.
I'm Zion, and I'm a second year at DFC.
A year later, and so many changes for Zion.
I love my friends here. I couldn't do anything without them. We support each other all the time.
At Doherty Family College, Zion also finds support on the academic side. Like all DFC students, Zion can count on a team committed to her success. Doherty Family College is Minnesota's affordable private college option. DFC students earn their associate's degree and then can transition to a 4-year college or university for their bachelor's. Many are students of color or first in their family to go to college.
It's nice to see people that look like you pursuing an education, wanting to succeed academically.
Zion encourages any high school student looking for a college home to do what she did and apply to Doherty Family College.
All the support you could need is here.
Ready to make your move and experience Doherty Family College for yourself? Then schedule your visit to the Minneapolis campus at dfc.stthomas.edu/visit.